A day in the life of Rick Detroyer. I have to thank my mother and father. I grew up on a farm, and my parents both grew up during the Depression, and the one rule that I was taught is waste not, want not. Well, I have a very happy life because I have everything I want. It's all thanks to people that have thrown things out. Chelsea Lumber to start with. These are damaged panels from pole barn siding, all sold for 50 cents on the lineal foot. Could build a whole barn for half the price. The tools that I use in my shop are leftovers, mismatched. I taught high school for many years. These are out in the junk. Can't use anymore. I recondition them, get them back working again. This is a tribute to John Winan, and it was made from found objects. But the main thing is it moves a little bit. And I really felt so good because these were just leftover bike parts and things. These are signs that were discarded in Chelsea. I used them at the Chelsea market to display their wine bottles and that. But again, it gave a little peek about Merkel's Furniture back in the 30s when they first had the first sign up. These are leftover wine bottles, and you know, a friend of mine says, I got 2 cases of blue wine bottles, do you want them? And me like an idiot, of course I want them. I have no idea what I'm going to do with them. Someone gave me Re-Rod the next week, so I put the 2 together and this became a bottle tree. This was another fun object because I worked with CCA about 6 years ago, and I worked in the community and talking to the people at Silver Maples, we collected different found objects. And some of the stories, I could go on, but they were so neat because they were very meaningful to those people. This is just a whimsical. It's a little farrier door, and what I enjoyed about this is it's an old broken pair of safety glasses that I had that for some stupid reason I hung on to. But just that fun, finding that piece and putting it back in again. This was a small kinetic piece that I made for a client, and they got all excited. They said, oh, that's great, I love the model. And these are found objects that I used. The problem came in is they wanted this sculpture to be 12 feet tall. Now I had to go back and find pieces that were bigger but still randomly found. But looking around and going to junkyards and pulling this stuff together and keeping a very, very, very open mind, I was able to pull this together and come up with something that was 12 foot tall, and the clients were very happy with it, but I couldn't get the base to work right. So I had to pour concrete to get a kind of a large mass at the base of this. So, you know, again, it wasn't technically a found object, but I made something and then I said, oh, there it is, and it works. This was a real benefit on my part. I supported the Breast Cancer Society, and I had a bunch of copper laying around. So I thought maybe I could put my talents to a good benefit. This was another piece where I was working with, these are little stamping blanks from a stamping plant here in the Chelsea area, and I welded them all together to create a figure of a woman, and I put it on top of a symbol of the Chelsea clock tower. And the fun part of this was taking these pieces and learning how to make this junk look like something really realistic. And I think I really felt good about doing just that, because so many times, you know, you get forced into making something look like art, and this was my chance to really think it through and take a piece at a time. But I had to come up with how-tos, so I used sand and I made a support to put these little pieces in, and I welded them together. And when I pulled it out, I was able to sand it back down, and all of my flaws were removed. So the majority of the energy is in the grinding, but it really worked out well to be able to, again, work from just found objects. This was a fun one. Michelle at the treehouse wanted to have something for her birthday room. So all she had was a bunch of license plates, and I'm just looking around, I found a bunch of tin ceiling material, and I put the whole thing together and made this 7-foot birthday cake. These are leftover glass insulators, the telegraph and wire, you see them in art, in antique stores. The fun part of that was being able to put glass into a piece of metal. So many times, you know, metal is very hard and harsh. This was probably my most fun piece. This was the handles in the clock tower, or in the Chelsea Common Grill. And the fun thing of it is I literally gave them to Craig Common to put them on the door because this was one of my very first projects. And I thought at least that way people would see my art and I might get a chance to sell some of it. This was a fun one when Jan Loveland had the bookstore. She said, Rick, can you make me a reed? And I'm thinking, thinking, what on heaven's earth is a reed? Well, that worked out that I made a sign that said reed.